evening, everyone. So, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot for coming out this evening, especially in the name of RAG Global. Thanks a lot for making your time available this evening. You know that we are already in the presence of that one person who makes us all feel insecure about our English. The man, the one and only, the man of the evening, the Honorable MP, Shashi Tharoor, sir, right here in the house, everyone. Let's put a round of applause just to welcome him. Of course, tonight, we're going to be witnessing a lot of new ventures which are going to make your business easier all across UAE. Not just UAE, all across the world, though. And RAG has some good dreams in place that they have put in all their visions into. And tonight, we'll see them launching right here in your presence. And of course, before we proceed any further, thanks a lot for showing up, and give yourselves a round of applause for dressing up and coming over tonight and being here to be a part of our dream. So, we start off by showing you what RAG Global Business Hub is all about. The video, please.
Dreams, aspirations, and leadership. All this, when put together with sheer determination, forms the legacy that millions look up to. Almost a decade ago, such was the path taken on by two passionate entrepreneurs, Russell Ahmad and Mohammed Aslam. From a scribbled thought to an MNC spread across continents is a dream that these two gentlemen dared to dream and convert them into reality. With a pioneering success rate within the international markets, RAG's journey has been phenomenal for over a decade. Let's walk down memory lane to understand RAG's success. 2013. The company was formed offering a number of solutions to entrepreneurs looking to begin their business journey. While this vertical focused on company setups and other corporate services, we noticed the need to have another vertical, and hence set foot in the travels and tourism industry. With a humble start in Qatar, the company grew in numbers over 2 years to achieve a clientele of over 500 businesses. 2015. RAG sowed its seeds within the UAE soil, offering fruitful returns and solutions to all business setup-related requirements. There was absolutely no looking back from here. To be a premier and the most competitive business solutions provider for entrepreneurs across the globe became the company's vision. The mantra of the company revolved around delivering high-quality business solutions for potential and existing entrepreneurs, and in doing so, enrich the lives of the staff, bring growth to the community, and deliver superior returns to our stakeholders. With extended support services and business centers, we grew on to becoming the most trusted partners for all our ardent customers. 2020. As the company grew in numbers, we also extended our service offerings. So as to meet the needs of knowledge economy, we now have a management consulting department taking care of market research, feasibility study-like services for clients in and out of UAE. Along with that came a unique concept of having an investor lounge that was intended to help entrepreneurs extend their wings of opportunities in the niche market they set out to capture. 2021. Offering our customers solutions beyond the 4x4s was of a top priority. Being technologically forward was the norm we wanted to achieve. Transforming digitally and moving towards the vision of the UAE's leaders was the way forward. The birth of an entrepreneur's mobile app formed a vital part of our future dealings and is certainly the way forward. Considering the opportunities, Africa and India became the natural extension of RAG's business expansion plans. We believe together we could help build a pathway for all the entrepreneurs to achieve the unthinkable, to dream the unbelievable. We aspire to be the top-notch business solution provider to all entrepreneurs across the globe, to help set up and scale up. It's time we convert our passion into profitable results and strive to excel the way we were meant to be. RAG Global Business Hub, with its vision to build the country as a nation of entrepreneurs, is all set to take the next big leap. With experience of close to a decade and knowledge of 100 years, let's lay the foundation to a brighter tomorrow. RAG Global Business Hub.
Thank you for that. RAG Global Business Hub, that was just a gist of what we're going to be expecting today evening. And let's start off. We have the COO of RAG Global Business Hub right here, Mohammad Nibraz. Let me welcome him here on stage to present you with a welcome speech. Please, sir.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidina al-Mursaleen wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een, amma ba'd. Good evening all. Respected Dr. Shashi Tharoor, sir, and all dignitaries present here. Once in a while in our lives, we come across some defining moments that change our lives and change our outlook towards life. Such a defining moment happened around 8 years ago when I was in Davos in a snowing January. I was attending the World Economic Forum's annual meet with my fellow global shapers. You'll not believe I was in a room filled with Nobel Prize winners. I was there to support one of my fellow global shaper. There walked in Kofi Annan. And as they say, rest is history. One such defining moment is today. In fact, it happened earlier today in the morning at RAG Global Business Hub. Someone with whom I share, someone who is very close to Kofi Annan, someone with whom I share a lot in common, love for cricket, love for books, love for reading and writing. It's my great pleasure to welcome, on behalf of RAG Global Business Hub, Dr. Shashi Tharoor, Honorable Member of Parliament, to the event, sir. The responsibility vested upon me is to welcome you all. I would like to extend my wholehearted welcome specifically to the dignitaries over here, Member of 14th Kerala Legislative Assembly, P.K. Bashir sir, Dr. Puttur Rahman sir, and all the dignitaries who are present here. Let me give a brief what we are trying to do here. You know, the title of today's event is the launching of business ecosystem. We as a marketed entry services provider, RAG Global Business Hub, we wanted to play a very critical role in this country's startup landscape. That's exactly why we have a vision of building UAE as a nation of entrepreneurs. the projects and products and services that are going to get launched here today, and the ecosystem itself is part of that very task that we have at hand. I conclude my welcome speech again by extending my warm welcome to each one of you. And I have a very short message for all of you way from UK.
Hello, I'm Nick Gowing, founder and director and co-author of Thinking the Unthinkable, director of Think Unthinkable Limited as well. And we've been examining for the last 8 years the precision of what is needed by leaders, by people like you, to understand the enormity of instability that has now overcome the world. We were predicting much of what is happening now. 2 or 3, 5 years ago, most people thought, what are they up to? What are they thinking about? But look where we are with COVID, with much worse to come, probably with tackling the climate emergency. I take this opportunity to congratulate RAG Global Business, the hub there, during their event for its business ecosystem aimed at supporting entrepreneurs to set up and scale up. This is a time of massive challenge, the existential threat from the climate emergency. And I'm particularly delighted to send personal greetings to Shashi Tharoor, who I've known, I have to say, Shashi, for almost 30 years, from when you were an Under Secretary General at the United Nations, now, of course, an MP in the Lok Sabha in India, but a prolific author and someone I've always viewed with great affection and also great admiration, not least, Shashi, because we met last in the UAE just over a year ago when we met at a festival to discuss your latest book then, The New World Disorder and the Indian Imperative. So I send my best wishes to Shashi. I send my best wishes to RAG Global Business for this hub ecosystem launch.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Nabras. Thanks a lot. Thank you for the warm welcome. And now, we would call this section gratitude. We really call this section gratitude. Because we want CEO of RAG Global Business Hub, Mr. Russell Ahmed, to please come on stage to share your gratitude.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Dear Shashi Tharoor sir, Dr. Putur Rahman, Sayyid Abdul Qadir, and last but not the least, my friend, my big brother, as well as a well-wisher, P.K. Bashirka, and all other dignitaries present here today. Gratitude. At the outset, I would like to thank Almighty Allah for all the blessings He has showered on us, all throughout. When we had our share of ups, we were blessed and we thanked. And when we had our share of downs, we learned, we thanked again. Alhamdulillah. Parents, the purest of the love and the support you could ever get. Our wings are lowered in humility for them, and hands raised in prayers for the love of them. My gratitude. No man succeeds without a woman. It's a common factor. It can be wife or mother. If it's both, then he is twice blessed. Alhamdulillah, I am twice blessed. Many thanks, Shamina, she is not here actually, for your unwavering support and care all these years in all ups and downs. My gratitude to you and to my lovely children, Zahra, Sahla, Ahmad Yasin, and Aisha. As we all know, it has been an extraordinary 2 years for business across the world. To be in the most prolific country during this year and to strive towards achieving the country's economic vision, RAG Global Business Hub is thankful. As we gather here today, we gather as a friend, we come together as a family, and we celebrate as partners in business. This event is a milestone in RAG's journey to build the country as a nation of entrepreneurs. And without each of you present here today, especially our clients, this milestone would have not been possible. My gratitude. When you set out for a long journey in business, you are lucky if you have a co-founder who compliments you, strengthens you, and grows with you. Muhammad Aslam, the Managing Director of RAG Global Business Hub and co-founder, has been that partner of strength. Our long walks on the corniche of Qatar, discussing about starting a business in the year of 2013, until today, Alhamdulillah, it has been a great journey. My gratitude. They say, coming together is the beginning, staying together is progress, and working together is success. RAG, as you see today, is the result of the hardworking men and women. My team. Most of them are not present here today, as they are in Qatar, and someone traveling. Especially two persons, Naushad Ka and Farhan. We wish you were here today. The most deserving of all to be here. As we progress together as a team, I acknowledge that you all have been a great source of inspiration. You all are the wind beneath my wings. My gratitude. And to all the family members and the well-wishers from across the world, to the budding entrepreneurs, to all the community leaders, to all the officials that we deal on a day-to-day basis, we promise to work harder to achieve greater heights. My gratitude. I would like to take this opportunity to announce RAG's new project, the tallest business center at the heart of Dubai, which we believe become an iconic project. Dear Tharoor sir, actually, we would like to have your presence as a chief guest again in the beginning of next year when we inaugurate this new project. My gratitude, sir. Thank you all.
Thank you. Definitely, I think after the launch of this project, we'll have a lot of other people saying our gratitude for you guys launching such a project. So, we're proceeding into the main event, as you saw, and as Nibraz rightly said, the business ecosystem launch, the business ecosystem. What is a business ecosystem? Definitely, we'll have a short presentation for you, which will explain the whole idea in detail. But let me tell you, what do you want when you want to launch a business here? You really need to know the market. You need to know if that business that you're getting into is ready and the market is ready for you. And once you get the market study done, then there is a lot of documentation in place. You need someone to do that for you. So, to get the documentation done. Then, you need to find a place. You need to have a fit out. You need to do all the licensing in place. And after that, any other stumbles on the way, any other teething problems that you have, you will have one solution. And that is RAG Global Business Hub. And that's going to happen right in front of you. And without much ado, the man of the evening, the man that you've been waiting to watch here on the stage, it's time to actually bring him out onto the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pride and honor to be welcoming Dr. Shashi Tharoor, the Honorable Member of Parliament, right here onto the stage. From the great Indian epic to Tharoorasaurus, sir, huge fan of your books. Have read almost all of them. So, the stage is all yours. So, before we start off with your speech, sir, yeah, the launch. Can we have the launch done? Can I, please? This is going to be right in front of you guys, especially, as sir rightly said, the major thing is, if you're here, it's because you are important to us. We had to actually say no to a lot of guys who really wanted to be here and took all of you in here because you guys are really important to us. You can just say it's launched and we will have the video ready, sir.
All right. Very pleased to declare this RAG Business Ecosystem, the Global Business Hub, formally launched.
Let's have the video.
The UAE has proved to be one of the best prepared countries to deal with the pandemic. Not only has the country effectively safeguarded the health and well-being of the citizens and residents, but it has also weathered the economic impact of the crisis to a large extent. The investments the country made over the last few decades to create a world-leading infrastructure, thanks to the vision of its founding fathers and current leadership, combined with their robust institutions and public services, has enabled the country to counter the COVID-19 challenge. Yet, small to mid-sized companies in the country are still struggling to emerge out of the initial economic impact the pandemic has caused. Interestingly, this is also a time when more and more people with innovative ideas are taking the entrepreneurial plunge by leaving their 9-to-5 corporate jobs. It is at this juncture we are launching RAG Business Ecosystem. As an organization committed to support entrepreneurs across the world, RAG has brought all the support services an entrepreneur would need to start up and scale up under one umbrella in the form of Business Ecosystem. Imagine about the unique business idea you have. RAG will help you to test it out in the market, understand your target audience, and explore the feasibility before you take the risk. Once you are ready to take the entrepreneurial leap forward, we are here to suggest best corporate structure and link you to the right investor. In UAE, getting a business license takes just minutes. However, getting the right one matching your idea and passion needs an experienced consultant's guidance, ideal office space, getting your brand protected through trademark, and many more things to take care of before the ball actually rolls. Now, you can leave all that task to the ecosystem. Here are the key elements of RAG's business ecosystem. Market insights, providing relevant, solid, and a thorough market study. Experiential learning. Provide hands-on experience to entrepreneurs about the industries. Partner identification. Identifying profitable means of future collaboration. Launch in Middle East. Help corporates from rest of the world to expand their reach within the Middle East. Investor Lounge. Connect startups with investors looking for secured investments. Global Connect. Enhance the current business and levy an international opportunity to all our clients. RAG Global Business Hub aims to build UAE as a nation of entrepreneurs. We need more job creators. We need more innovators. We need more of those who are ready to bring forth the crazy ideas to solve real-life problems. Bring to us your crazy ideas. We are ready to take the road less traveled. Presenting to you RAG Business Ecosystem.
A huge round of applause, everyone. That's something that you don't see every day. So, back to you, sir. Stage all yours.
Thank you very much, Mithun, Russell, Aslam, Dr. Abdul Rahman, and my good friend, Kerala member of the Legislative Assembly, P.K. Bashir, all the very distinguished guests here this evening, friends. I hope that covers everyone. I'm really happy to join you all at this Startup and Scale-Up Summit organized by the RAG Global Business Hub. I had a visit this morning to cut the ribbon. I think you saw the video at the hub this morning. And I have to say I was very impressed by what I saw. And then as we all sat today and listened to the video about the RAG Business Hub, the first three words, dreams, aspirations, and leadership, were, I thought, extremely inspiring as well. And I was very struck by the fact that these two young Indians are doing something here in this region, which I think could set an example to all of us in India and across the world. Now, RAG have invited me to share my thoughts with you on the role of entrepreneurship and innovation in helping societies address the challenges of the 21st century. And that's a vast topic, but I'll try and give you some thoughts on it, because that there is a growing appreciation and awareness of the disruptive potential of innovation and entrepreneurship is no surprise to any of us, as it demonstrates society's growing faith in their potential to solve traditional age-old problems that we continue to struggle with. Certainly in India, that is the reality we live with, and we need innovative answers to time-old questions. Across the world, nations are increasingly transitioning to entrepreneurship-driven economies that look towards innovation as the path to the future, where answers are being found through fresh ideas and fresh thinking. Driven by factors such as the availability of both domestic and international funding, consolidation activities by a number of firms, the evolving technology space, and the burgeoning demand for new products and services within each country's domestic market, startups have begun to permeate the landscape of every country. And there's undeniably a global embrace of entrepreneurship as a powerful tool through which nations can find new answers to age-old questions. Now, when you look at innovation, study the etymology of the word, you find its increasingly and interestingly turbulent history. The term innovation is derived from the Latin word innovatis, which meant to renew or restore. But for a better part of its brief history, the word innovation was actually more of a derogatory term than a complimentary one, especially in the English language, where it was used to describe something that was untested or untried and therefore carried an implicit element of high risk. Its redemption came with the influential 20th century economist Joseph Schumpeter, who saw it as the greater element in any successful invention and as the precursor to development, locating entrepreneurship as the pathway between the two. The phraseology of disruption is now following the same roadmap from negative to positive. But as an Indian Member of Parliament, let me point out that the key terms here, innovation and disruption, have long been embedded in the history of development in India. In the land of Ayurveda, the country that invented the zero, making the decimal system possible, the land of the first recorded instance of rhinoplasty, surgery that took place over 2,000 years ago, and they found both the procedures and the instruments. The first land to construct cities around 4,000 years ago along a rectangular grid that would put Manhattan to shame. In such a country, the tradition of innovation cannot be said to be a new one. But one could argue that the contemporary interest in innovation in the Indian context stems from the more recent remarkable and proven record of Indians in globally recognized innovation hubs, such as Silicon Valley, which towards the end of the 20th century saw the proliferation of a number of startups helmed by Indians. Indians have also demonstrated their inherent entrepreneurial talents elsewhere, and I think in RAG and these two bright young men, we've seen a very fine example of precisely that talent here in this region. And I was interested to hear from the video that you want to expand to Africa as well. That's a fascinating initiative. Now, I realize the bulk of this audience, and not all of you, the bulk of this audience is certainly Indian. And in an interesting statistic I once came across, I found that 13.4% of all the startups that originated in Silicon Valley in the US in the 80s, 90s, and the early 2000s were actually founded by Indians. Many of which, of course, have gone on to become household names across the world. It's said that 40% of all Silicon Valley companies have Indians amongst their founders or in their leadership. Together with our historic aptitude for adaptability and entrepreneurship, naturally this talent also emerged in India. Today, the Indian city of Bengaluru is recognized as the Silicon Valley of India. And though the city is really more of a silicon plateau than a valley, there is a place in Mumbai that's jokingly called Powai Valley for the increasing number of startups located there. Many of these have now joined the prestigious ranks of the global unicorns, the nomenclature for privately held startups valuing over $1 billion, a term coined by Eileen Lee because of their rarity, or rather the fact that a unicorn is a myth. It doesn't actually happen, but of course, in the real world, it is happening. India's unicorns seem likely to proliferate rather than become extinct. In fact, we've invented our own club for small businesses and the young. Nano unicorns, these very small companies. Perhaps with RAG, we are looking at a nano unicorn, I hope. The pilot project launched in the Indian state of Odisha promotes skill development and business capacities for individuals who display distinct entrepreneurial traits, whether it be the owner of a manufacturing unit, or even a roadside Indian street food vendor who shows a capacity for expansion and growth. At the same time, we have boasted a 50% interest in startups concerned with advanced technology, especially Internet of Things and data analytics, setting the pace globally in tandem with the amplification of entrepreneurial diversity in India. There's now a proliferation of startups within the country, a country that's emerged now as the world's third largest startup ecosystem, having doubled from 4,700 startups in 2016 to over 9,800 3 years later. 2019 was the last pre-pandemic figure that was available, and all of this tells a much bigger story. But I recognize that the growing popularity and growth of entrepreneurship is not just an Indian story. And looking at all of you in the UAE as well, you are home in this country to nearly 4,000 startups as of 2020, all of which have benefited from the remarkable levels of financial support and investment that are available. To quote one example, according to the Dubai Startup Outlook 2021, FDI in Dubai reached 3.26 billion in the first half of last year, making your emirate the fourth highest globally in the number of FDI projects. Similarly, despite the turbulence of the COVID-19 pandemic, UAE-based startups managed to raise $557 million in venture funding during COVID, 56% of the entire total for the Middle East and North Africa, with Dubai startups estimated to account for over half that figure. But what these impressive numbers do not necessarily reveal is the crucial role played by the government of the UAE in fostering a hospitable ecosystem for entrepreneurs to succeed. ICT coverage, for instance, has always been a priority for your government. And as a result, the UAE boasts one of the best levels of coverage in the entire MENA region. The provision of these critical services, along with other measures including classes on entrepreneurship in universities, a conducive regulatory framework that stimulates the private sector, and a high number of supportive platforms like RAG, like incubators and accelerators suggest that the future of entrepreneurship and innovation in the UAE is very bright indeed. Now, the phenomenal rise of entrepreneurship globally reflects how ambitious and talented individuals today are ditching the traditional path of what would normally constitute a good education, a good profession, a good job, in other words, with a salary and a good career, and are instead taking to entrepreneurship as a way not just to a successful career, but equally as a tool to establish their own legacies. Today, the options we have available to us are countless, but it wasn't always so. I remember after my days in college, how few were the options available to graduating youngsters in the India of my time. Today, the higher education system, of course, offers more subjects one can study than ever before. More courses are available that didn't exist in my college days, and far more kinds of career options are on offer to today's youth than we could have dreamed of back then. The nations of the world often operated in silos with limited options for international exposure for the talent in our countries. The term globalization hadn't been really coined or used much till the 1990s. Today, the world is much smaller. Opportunities are far greater. And our youth now have a variety of choices in and outside our countries that were unknown to previous generations. In India, of course, our economy has transformed itself dramatically since the liberalization of 1991, when our then finance minister, later Prime Minister, Dr. Manmohan Singh, famously invoked Victor Hugo's memorable words in the Indian Parliament by saying that no power on earth can stop an idea whose time has come. That idea at that time was the liberalization of the Indian economy, which not only gave us the growth and diversity that allowed us to weather the storms that confronted the global economy after the crisis of 2008, but which also enabled us to overtake Japan to become the world's third largest economy in purchasing power parity terms, PPP. In fact, that and the reforms promoted by Dr. Manmohan Singh later as Prime Minister led to the International Monetary Fund predicting in 2015 that the Indian economy would be the fastest growing major economy in the world. Sadly, that turned out not to be the case under new management. But though we have been challenged by the devastating impact of the COVID pandemic, the fact is that there's once again hope for growth in India with the recent UN World Economic Situation and Prospects report, which predicts that India will attain the status of the fastest growing economy once again by 2022. So that could be a very positive development. And when you look at entrepreneurship, age is on our side. India is the youngest of the major economies in the world, at a time when many of our major Asian competitors, China, Japan, South Korea, are facing a serious demographic squeeze. And of course, the rest of the world is aging. In Europe, the average age this decade is going to be 46. In Japan, it's 47. Even in immigrant-fueled, perennially youthful America, it's 40. The average age in India is only 29. So we have this huge young population, 50% under 25, 65% under 35, a young country where fresh graduates will be joining a dynamic, competitive, productive, youthful workforce, which could be the engine of the world, even prepared to take over from China so far as age structure and potential is concerned. But of course, the demographic dividend will only work in our favor if we can educate and train young people better to seize the opportunities available to them in the 21st century, opportunities that entrepreneurs like you are creating. Those of you who are here, obviously for you, the world is your oyster. Dubai, in many ways, is a de facto capital of the world. For everyone else in our country who are less fortunate, less privileged, the question marks still abound. And our demographic dividend could easily become a demographic disaster if we continue to produce legions of uneducated or undereducated, unemployed and possibly unemployable, and therefore very frustrated young men. This is true in some Arab countries as well, and you are blessed to be in a region where that is not the case. Now, this is where I suppose you all come in. Harnessing our nation's potential, bringing about the social and economic transformation we all hope for, will require highly educated and motivated individuals, such as all of you, to provide leadership across all sectors of our economy. As a firm advocate of a greater interface between industry and academia, let me reiterate that industry players like the RAG Group have a vital role to play if we are to be adequately supporting and promoting the next generation of entrepreneurs in both our countries. The reasons are simple enough. The reason why so many of our startups, despite their inherent potential, do not succeed often boils down to issues of access and know-how. For instance, when a group of individuals conceive of an idea, that will eventually form the core of their enterprise. Securing access to information, I think Mithun gave a very good summary earlier today. Market conditions to begin with, licensing, documentation, procedures, all of that, and knowledge about how your idea will play out in the real world. This can be a major challenge. Access to sufficient funding and mentorship can also be a real problem. For an enterprise that has just commenced its journey, that's not an easy thing always. And of course, getting a basic, well-equipped office space with adequate internet and Wi-Fi, knowledge on how they can sustain their innovations, scale up the scope of their operations, and break through in a hyper-competitive marketing environment are equally critical factors that new startups can struggle to navigate successfully. These are the key areas in which established industry players obviously have an advantage, but they too can play a vital role, particularly in terms of guidance and mentorship for our next generation of entrepreneurs and innovators. Through your leadership, our inherent entrepreneurial potential can become a significant weapon for both India and the UAE as we march towards greater economic growth. And I think that if we are able to make this progress, there should be a number of new enterprises being launched out of places like the Global Business Hub of RAG. Some will succeed, a number will fail, but they will all energize the economic space and throw up the best available minds and talents to lead the economy and to lead both our countries. Russell said something very good. The ups, he said, he was thankful for, and the downs he learned from, and therefore he was thankful for. Very, very important point. And I think that these are challenges entrepreneurs will very much understand, because, as I said, not everyone will succeed at the first attempt, but they can learn from their failures. Now, being in the presence of all of you, I must say, energetic entrepreneurs, I'm confident we'll find answers to the challenges. If I can go back to India, since like Mr. Bashir, he and I are elected representatives of the people of India, and our concern very much is about finding creative solutions to the problems they face, our individual citizens and voters. We've come a long way. I mean, since 1947, when the British left us with a legacy of a negligible 0.1% annual growth and abysmal 17% literacy. As those of you who may have read my book, An Era of Darkness, published in England as Inglorious Empire, may already know, on the eve of independence, Indians had a life expectancy of just 27, and 90% of our population lived below the poverty line. And I think all of us will agree we've come a long way and we should be proud of it. However, to continue to overcome the challenges that we face in this century and beyond, we must count upon the inherent creativity and spirit of enterprise that each of you possesses. This will need more and more gatherings such as this one to understand and mold the way in which our countries can embrace the core ideas that drive innovation. Some of you have heard of the North Indian principle of Jugaad. I'm sure many of you know what I'm talking about, which has now made its way into some management textbooks. The truth is that it's not something that, as its critics would say, it should be sneered at, because Jugaad is a way of twisting your way around the system to get things done or to cut corners. And the Jugaad, they say, is not good enough, because it's about simply making do, whereas we should be striving for excellence. Of course we should, but Jugaad is more than that. It's about new ways of thinking out of the box, repurposing things, making do with what you've got within your resource constraints, creating solutions, thinking indeed in the most creative way possible to bring non-traditional solutions to your problem. So an Indian villager constructs a makeshift vehicle to transport his livestock and goods by rigging a wooden cart with an irrigation hand pump which serves as an engine. There's Jugaad. Common machines and household objects are reincarnated in ways that their original manufacturers never intended. If you go to Punjab in the heat of the summer, where everyone loves to drink lassi to cool down, you will find industrial strength lassi as it being prepared in what was designed to be a washing machine. The washing machine is churning out the buttermilk and salt or sugar and giving you lassi in vast quantities. Everything is reusable or imagined, and that's the Indian way, right? I mean, you remember when mobile telephones came to India and most people couldn't really afford them. What do we do in India? We found a solution. We invented the concept of the missed call, right? So you make a brief ring that is not answered, is not meant to be answered, but that signals your need to speak to the recipient. Now, instead of complicating or refining your products, Indian innovators strip them down to the bare essentials, which in fact makes them affordable, accessible, durable, and effective. And Indian entrepreneurial ingenuity has produced a startling number of world-beating innovations. I'm going to say something which is unfashionable today, but I think none has been more impressive than the Tata Nano. When it first came out, it cost 1 lakh of rupees, about the same as the cost of a high-end DVD player in a Western luxury car. Of course, there was no DVD player in the Nano, and no radio either in the 1 lakh model. But its innovations garnered 34 patents. And they were not merely the result of doing away with frills, including power brakes, air conditioning, side view mirrors, all gone. But they reduced the use of steel by inventing an aluminum engine. They increased space by moving the wheels to the edge of the chassis. They relied on a modular design that enabled the car to be assembled from kits. Now, we all know that from a marketing perspective, the car was a failure. Mainly because it was perhaps wrongly advertised as a cheap car. And the problem is that anyone in India who can afford to buy a car sees it as a status symbol, not just as a medium of transport, and didn't want to be caught dead driving a cheap car. So that was the end of the Nano. But the way it was made and engineered and created, I think, proved that you could do more with less. Similarly, India's mission to Mars cost us approximately 492 crore rupees, which was less than the special effects budget of the Hollywood space movie Gravity. And this Mars mission, successful Mars mission, was only 11% of the costs that NASA incurred for its own Mars program. Then there's the GE Mac 400, a handheld electrocardiogram device that costs 50,000 rupees to make, which is in fact less than half the price of the cheapest electrocardiogram available in the world. The Tata Swatch is a 1,500 rupee water purifier, 10 times cheaper than its nearest competitor. How do these things happen? Well, the GE Mac 400 uses 4 buttons rather than the usual dozen. A tiny portable printer, rather like what your waiter will bring you in a restaurant in Dubai, making it small enough to fit on a satchel, even run on batteries, and give you an ECG. And that has reduced the cost of an ECG to just 50 rupees per patient, which is, of course, much more affordable to the poorest Indians. As for the Swatch, it uses rice husks, which is a waste product out of the paddy fields of India, to purify water. Now, why is this important? Because about 5 million Indians die of cardiovascular diseases every year. More than a quarter of them are under 65. About 2 million die from drinking contaminated water. So these innovations are groundbreaking, and they save lives and they make a difference to people's lives. That's why I applaud that. Now, many other examples of frugal innovation already in the Indian market. I won't waste your time for all of this. But I want to mention particularly medical innovations, because an Indian company invented a cheaper hepatitis B vaccine, for example, which brought down the price from 750 rupees per injection to a fraction of the cost at about 15 rupees per injection. Insulin's price has fallen by 40% thanks to a leading biotech firm. A company based in Bangalore invented a diagnostic tool to test for tuberculosis and infectious diseases that costs about 10,000 rupees, whereas the comparable equipment in the West is a minimum of 5 lakhs, that is 50 times as much. So my point is that coming up with innovative solutions within our limited resources, but thinking within our own realities, is something we're beginning to do. And since we do it so well, we need to do much more of it. As I said earlier, we're the country that invented the zero all those thousands of years ago, But today it seems that all we're inventing is zero. We need to do better than that. And that's something which is so incredibly important. Now, we know that globalization, of course, has offered entrepreneurs remarkable possibilities for success, but it also has a dark side, and that includes concerns over job security, the distribution of economic gains, the impact of volatility on families, communities, and nations. Economic growth is vital, we all know that, but it's also true that the magic of the market, where entrepreneurs like you thrive, will not appeal to those who cannot afford to enter the marketplace. So we need to extend the benefits of globalization to the poor by supporting growth, but by distributing also the fruits of that growth to those who have been excluded or marginalized. According to a 2021 report by Oxfam this year, it took just 9 months for the top 1,000 billionaires' fortunes to return to their pre-pandemic highs. But for the world's poorest people, recovery could take 14 times longer, perhaps more than a decade. A pre-pandemic report by the international organization highlighted that the assets of just 9 of the richest people in the world, 9 individuals, are more or less equal to the combined net worth of 50% of the world's population. Okay, so that's the sort of situation we're living in, and I think as human beings, as well as in your case as leaders of entrepreneurship and innovation yourself, it's upon us to correct this imbalance, irrespective of what growth and GDP levels we're able to attain as we finally manage to recover from the debilitating economic impact of the COVID virus. We must not forget that whether our growth is 9% or 2%, the focus of our development must be on the bottom 25% of our populations. Now, as an MP, and like Mr. Bashir as an MLA, we've interacted with lots of young people. We know that there are lots of problems, but we also know there's a lot of energy to try and solve them. Many of these problems haven't changed for decades, and I think it's very important that we understand that we need to find innovative ways to tackle the shortfalls, the needs, the old roti, kapda or makan, as they would say, food, clothing and shelter, now has been transformed into demands by the voters for bijli, sadak and pani, electricity, good roads, drinking water, and increasingly people are adding to that jobs and good high-speed internet as well. And we need to deliver all of that. We need to give people the possibility of having access to all of that. It can be done. And I believe that entrepreneurship is the way to do it. I remain inspired by a great Indian story, a true story from the 1890s of the industrialist Jamshedji Tata, who was denied admission to Pike's Hotel in Bombay at the peak of the British Empire, which had a sign outside saying Indians and dogs not allowed. So what did he do? He went off and built a far grander, far more opulent hotel that was open to Indians, the Taj Mahal Hotel. Now, I don't know about the dogs, but the Indians could definitely get in. Today, the Taj is considered one of the finest hotels in the world, whereas Pike's has long since closed. When the same Mr. Tata set up India's first ever steel mill in 1905, in the face of implacable British hostility, a colonial official of that era sneered that he would personally eat every ounce of steel that an Indian was capable of producing. It's a pity he didn't live long enough to see the descendants of Jamshedji Tata taking over and since thereafter selling what remained of British steel through his acquisition of Chorus. It might have given him a bad case of indigestion. So there are all these stories, the story of David Cameron when he was Prime Minister driving off to meet the Queen in, as people pointed out, an Indian car because Jaguar Land Rover is now owned by an Indian company and so on. But let's not just focus on post-colonial thrills that Indians have. I just want to say it's time for us to move beyond cliches about who can and cannot excel at what. These stereotypes are over. Why can't we have in the UAE and in our country of India entrepreneurs who can lead, who can innovate, who can inspire, who can reach out beyond the limits that their forebears had lived with? We need a commitment to quality that can work across all these areas. We need to create awareness, promote effective implementation, and improve as we go along. Today, I think it's important that each of you remembers that as entrepreneurs, it's imperative that you embark into the world to display your talent and intelligence and to set up fascinating new ventures. I think that that's where RAG's Global Business Hub comes in, to provide that ecosystem, to provide that platform, to allow new ventures to come and to thrive. As leaders in your own right, I'm sure that you will carry the weight not just of those who have tried and failed before you, but the ability to emulate those who have tried and succeeded, as well as indeed your talent to help the nameless, faceless unfortunates in our world to build a better tomorrow. Now, it's always odd for an Indian politician to end a speech without quoting Mahatma Gandhi, whose birthday was just a couple of weeks ago, 3 weeks ago. So let me do so before I end. And not one of his better-known quotes, Gandhiji said, "It's the quality of our work which will please God and not the quantity." He, of course, also more famously declared, "Be the change that you wish to see in the world." Since quality will not come without change, I think both his exhortations apply to all of you. Change yourselves to change the world, and do so with work and values of the highest quality. That is what I hope you two young men of RAG will always provide and live up to in your work, and that all of you would be guided by these sentiments in illuminating your quest for continued accomplishment in all aspects of your life and work as entrepreneurs. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to address you all on this important subject. Good luck to RAG. All the very best to all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. May I request Russell and Mr. Aslam here on stage to present Dr. Shashi Tharoor with a token of our gratitude for those inspiring words. Sir, you know what you did? You started with innovation, which started off as a negative word and then turned into a positive word. And now you made Jugad a positive word. Thank you, Russell Aslam, thank you, thanks a lot. May I request you to stay back on stage, sir?
Sure.
We have a lot of budding entrepreneurs here. You just motivated them with your speech. So they might have a few questions for you. So I've always wondered, the words that you use, and rhodomontade, is that the way to say it? The pronunciation?
Rhodomontade, yeah, that's, boastful,
Yeah.
inflated.
So you've always said, that is never the intention.
No, I think it's better to be clear because the entire point about communication is to be understood.
Absolutely.
But use the most appropriate words that will help
that's
you
why-
be understood.
That's why the exasperating Farrago came in.
Right.
There are a few words coined by him I would like to ask you. Do you know what a Weberkoof is? Does anyone here know what a Weberkoof is? Yeah? Weberkoof. Yeah, you just said that. It's somewhat related to foolishness, but Weberkoof made into Weberkoof, yeah? You have it there. You almost got it there. Does anybody know Weberkoof? That's a word coined by you, sir. You used it in Twitter. You should actually, the latest book brought out by Sir, it is the Tharoorasaurus. Tharoorasaurus is Thesaurus by Tharoor. And it has a lot of words. Cacophobia. So, anyone? Weberkoof? Yeah, Feroz. Yeah. Get the mic, get the mic. You want to ask a question or do you want to answer Weberkoof?
No. I have a question too.
He has a question.
Sure, go ahead.
Just before that, explaining Weberkoof is anyone who believes anything that comes up on social media or the internet. That is a Weberkoof. Please, go on.
A Weberkoof on the web is a Weberkoof. That's the idea. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. So my name is Firoz. I am here running a business, family business for around 30 years.
What kind of family business?
We are into manufacturing air outlets for central air conditioning.
Oh,
We are
I see,
manufacturing,
right.
Yeah, air ducts.
In hot country, it's a very useful profession.
Indeed it is, yeah. So my question is regarding the global business hub we are talking about in this country, but this is regarding back home because we majority of us represent India and our home state, Kerala. So I have taken aback many a times when we land at our airport. Yeah, we can see a little bit of progress, but you as a representative for the people, so when we can change, we can see starting a change in the country, because once a person lands in Dubai, we can see the difference right from the person whom we meet first, be the service agent, be the immigration officer, be the customs officer, so on and so forth, until the trolley puller. But there we face, it's like, you have a fear to go
Don't
there.
be shy. You can use the word bullying. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, not only that, because we have a lot of potential in our country, be it in India or be it in our own Kerala as well, for tourism, for another infrastructure. But I still think that it is a virgin land for tourism, because I've traveled a lot. Indeed, you also. So most of us have seen major part of the world. But what we have in our country and what we are seeing outside the country, when we compare that potential, so as a young person or as a young entrepreneur, I would like to know when we can see a major change in our country.
It's
so
a very good question to which there's no simple answer, because you won't believe these things are actually a lot better than they used to be. I still remember in India where every person coming from abroad had every suitcase opened by customs. There was no exception, no green channel and red channel. Right into the 80s, and certainly late 70s. That was how incredibly the throttling control of bureaucracy was. Immigration lines were long because the immigration officer looked with suspicion on every visitor. All of these things, and indeed, as you said, the difference between the traditionally welcoming attitude of most countries versus the somewhat bristling suspicion that you are confronted with in your own country cannot be a pleasant feeling for many of you, and I understand that. Having a very serious attempt to educate people is worth doing. No government has so far done it very well. There's also the problem that our immigration desks are staffed by essentially police personnel, employees of the Home Ministry and so on, not of the tourist department or whatever. They tend not to be given the kind of flexibility and freedom that most of their counterparts abroad tend to have. So honestly, it's a bit difficult for us to find an easy way out to resolve the frustration you've described. Training courses, education of the officials, that will probably be the right thing to do. The problem is, of course, very often the people who make the decisions, because they themselves have never been subject to such experiences, they don't know what the rest of the public are going through. And therefore, they don't understand the imperative need to reform the system and re-educate the people. But I take your point, and I'll carry that message back. As you know, I'm not in government, I'm in the opposition. But maybe our time will come and we'll be able to fix the problem for you.
Thank you, sir. Brilliant answer. Any other questions?
In expert days, we are also an Indian, but some of the time we are not considered as an Indian, especially the pandemic time. We lost many lives here also. Even I filed a case to Supreme Court of India, and we tried to make the compensation of Indian who died from abroad. But even from the parliament or in other, with the people, representative of the people, they are not at all considering the people of expatriate community. We are here coming only for the job purpose. Still, we are holding our Indian passport. We are the Indians. But what is this kind of the discrimination? As a member of parliament who have a wide experience in abroad, what is an advice? What we should do for it? Kindly need your answer, sir.
No, I think it's a very good point, because people tend to forget that if somebody was living abroad when they passed away, their survivors, their families usually have to come back to India or already are in India and need help and support, especially with the loss of their sole breadwinner. And it becomes very important for the government to come through with some assistance. I agree with you. The problem of lack of assistance for the unfortunate victims of COVID, the lack of a fiscal stimulus for the economy, and the rather disappointing levels of assistance given to people who lost their jobs and so on, is something that my party took up throughout the time. We felt that the government had the money and should be using it better to help people in distress than it did. But then we're getting into the realm of politics. I mean, ultimately, what we can do is raise the voice that you have raised, point this out to the government. In fact, if you'll send me the details of your the case you put before the Supreme Court and so on, I can also write to the ministers concerned. I can try and raise it in Parliament if circumstances and time permit. But the question is ultimately that the decision has to be made by those who control the purse strings. And at a time when they are already taxing fuel and so on to make sure they get more money out of the public, will they give money to the public? I don't know. We'll have to see. But right now we are paying the highest world prices for petrol in India, of which 54% of what you pay at the pump is actually going in taxes to the central government. So that's the kind of behavior we're seeing from the government. They're in a take mode rather than a give mode, but we'll try.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I'll just take one more question. Nibras, please, go on.
Sir, as a researcher, one of the things which I did was to research about you and understand that you have a very short span of around 2 years of business experience. So we would really love to hear a bit of that, also to understand, as I said during the welcome speech also, meeting Kofi Annan and the grace he showed in terms of making us feel important. It was just a very small moment. I had a great experience of sharing a dinner table with him and his wife. So I want to understand your stint with United Nations for around 28 years and that small 2 years of business experience. What is that role? What was your experience? What is that role of leadership? Most of us here are partners in the company. What is that role of leadership during the startup and during the scale-up?
Well, the business experience really, I cannot make too much of it because it was a non-full-time consultative role. I was essentially advising people who were interested in bringing entrepreneurship to Kerala, which in many ways seemed a good thing to do because many would say that Kerala was in many ways the last unexplored frontier. And so I was essentially doing 2 or 3 kinds of things in the public eye as well. I was speaking and writing about some of the success stories of business in Kerala, because you know one of the reasons that Kerala was not able to attract investment was that the state had a terrible reputation built up over decades of communist hyperactivism. And every entrepreneur that I tried to speak to, including expatriate Malayalis, would say that they're not going to put their money into a place where the next day the red flags would appear. And I was trying to give them some corrective news. And at that point, there was the story of a Malayali from the Bahamas who had actually taken the risk of getting his huge double-hull tankers made in the Cochin shipyard. And he actually had a success story to tell. They came in on time, under budget, no labor unrest. They worked hard, they worked overtime, and they produced these high-quality ships in a very labor-intensive way. And this is a kind of thing that the Chinese had cornered the market on, but an Indian shipyard in Kerala was able to do it. So I gave that kind of example. I talked about it, wrote about it. At that time, when I left the UN, the communists were in power in Kerala. So I had to work with them. And I found them, at least to listen to. They were very receptive and supportive. I hosted a dinner, for example, with the then Industries Minister, Elamoram Karim, in New York, with some 20-odd, no, more than that, about 30-odd potential investors. But that was sort of the low point of my business acumen, because not one of them actually agreed to invest in Kerala. They all listened, but they listened with skepticism when a communist minister assured them of a receptive environment to their business, and in the end it didn't work out. So while I was trying to do that, I also set up one particular venture in collaboration with a business friend, and that was a venture in business communication, essentially imparting better spoken English, better understanding of English and speaking of English to potential young people looking for better employment prospects. That was actually, I think, a necessary idea. I mean, I came across it when I was visiting the Technopark, and I spoke to employers there about what their experience was with the Kerala graduates they were hiring, and they said these are very bright, very qualified, very competent people on paper, but they are completely tongue-tied. They're unable to express themselves in English or to have a meaningful conversation with a customer or a client, and they said this is a big problem for us. So I thought we'd be responding to a demonstrated need. But I partly blame my partner for why that didn't work, in that he went very high-end. He got an American lady to come and run the enterprise. We bought some state-of-the-art computers and audio programs and so on. But to even breaking even required a level of fees that no one in India, certainly not in Kerala, was prepared to pay. So the venture struggled on for a while, and then when I was invited to contest the elections, I pulled out, obviously, from all these ventures, and I became a full-time political candidate and then a minister, an MP and a minister. So that was the end of that. So I won't point to my business career as teaching me very much, except to prove that I could also fail at a few things. Fail at persuading investors to invest in Kerala, and fail also at running a successful venture, even in an area where the need was very clear. But I think the economics of it were not well worked out by our people. But these are all lessons. If I'd stayed in the entrepreneurial space, I'm sure I would have done better in due course, but I didn't stay. On Kofi Annan, he's just a remarkable human being. This, it would take too long to give you a very full answer, but he was somebody who was remarkably like an Indian yogi, in that he was deeply anchored in himself and almost immune to either pleasure or pressure. It's not that he couldn't experience those things, but he never let them sway him. So praise and flattery wouldn't move him. Criticism and attack wouldn't hurt him or dampen his enthusiasm. He carried on very straight. He knew himself, he knew his worth, he knew what he wanted to do. And I must say that he was an exceptionally successful UN Secretary General for most of his term, as well as just an amazing human being to work with. And I saw him multiple times a day for many years. And we remained close, and I was deeply shattered when he passed away at the age of 80 in 2018. I had spoken to him on his birthday that year, and we had discussed his coming to Kerala, having a holiday, and he had enjoyed an Ayurvedic massage many years earlier, and he said he'd come for some Ayurveda treatment and so on, and sadly that was not to be. So a great loss, very fine human being, and one of the things that he was outstanding at was managing people. Remarkable personal touch with people of all levels. There was no difference in the way in which he treated an ambassador or an undersecretary general on the one hand, or a security guard or a secretary on the other. Just absolutely the same human touch. He would always make it a point to ask, inquire about people's families. And, he never made the mistake of asking somebody, how's your wife, who didn't have a wife. Or, he always knew and remembered. He had this prodigious memory. He must have known a sentence or two in about 50, 60 languages, so that he would meet an Ethiopian and say, how are you in an Amharic? And he would say something to an Italian in Italian, and something to an Arab in Arabic. I was just an extraordinary people person. No one who came across Kofi didn't go away feeling absolutely inspired and admiring and really warmed by his presence. And I feel it's a great privilege to have worked as closely with him as I was able to do for the years I was able to. And I think it's a big loss for the world that we lost Kofi Annan. Just a great human being. So that was the answer to that
question.
Thank you,
sir. Thank you.
My name is Faki.
Hi.
I'm very small business is here in almost 68 retail outlets I'm running.
What kind of retail?
I have a special question for you because you're in opposite side now.
Okay.
I'm now?
You're in opposition right now.
See, I'm in actually SME and MSME sector. SME and MSME sector. This is actually the cottage industry and craft sector and souvenir sector is we running. I'm always is looking in India is Jodhpur, Jaipur, Athras, Aligarh, Muradabad, Firozabad. In this area is a cottage industry which is a season-based availability. Raw material is we making in value-added product and we exporting to India to other country, but mostly we bringing into Dubai to exporting in almost is 27 country. Grace is almost is 30 years. I'm running in small retail outlets. When I small age I come here. See, the question is actually, India is a opportunities lot, but it's a very important with a corporate business and share market and multinational company and joint venture company, partnership company. But it's a main cream route is actually SME and MSME. The 60% people will be the starting from, if you want to run the cooperative, even in this kind of the hotel, need to get the support from them in SME sector. Because the traditional food, if you want to get it, river stream want to get it, in vegetable you want it, you have to link with, bridge with SME and MSME sector. There is no anything will be the India, all the states is one hub, which is a SME and MSME sector. There is a lot of department, 9 department is there, craft department, rural area department, and development, subsidy promoting in area, SME development, MSME sector. I am also promoting in almost 7 country, including Indonesia and Vietnam, is continuous is a one village, one product. I have almost is a line by digital base and systematic base is which is we created in 13 digital barcode system in unorganized sector.
So, question?
Yeah, question is you will be going to help them to us, to India, we can start in real way, which is Indonesia and Vietnam is doing for us is supporting in SME, MSME sector in one hub in each state base. State is that they can decide it in each Jilla or corporation or anything. This is my question.
Thank you. No, I think it's an important insight you've given us. Why don't you, if you'll give me a little proposal. I have fairly decent relationships with some of the central ministers, and there is a new SME minister who has been appointed in the last reshuffle. My view is to go and talk to him and say, here is a problem identified by somebody in the field. What can we do about it? Because, the point is that ultimately, when it comes to the nation's development, politics is secondary. I'll be very happy to take your idea forward. Please do write to me. office@tharoor.in is the simple address, and we'll see what we can do to pursue the specific ideas that you are recommending. Thank you very much. Good to see you all.
Thank you, sir. Finally, you can just get sent the proposal. You just got it straight from the horse's mouth. So, thank you, sir. Everybody, please applaud for Dr. Shashi Tharoor being a sport, taking all the questions. Thank you. Thanks a lot. And of course, we could address even personal issues with him. And I've had my share of politicians. Not a lot of people are really open to these questions. Sir, as you rightly said, an idea. And never can we stop an idea that has come its time. Yeah, the time has come. Okay. And so we actually asked for ideas around colleges here. And we have come up with 2 ideas, which we're going to be pitching right here on the stage. These are students who have got ideas. And we have a room full of entrepreneurs, budding entrepreneurs. And in front of them, we're going to present an elevated pitch right here. And these are, let me just explain something to you. When RAG, the business ecosystem, launched, the first thing Russell and Aslam had in mind is that if you have an idea, let us find the right partners for you. If you have an idea, let us tell you how to launch it in a market. This is something that they have taken as a dream and a vision. So these students today are really going places. Let's get them on stage. Let me have the first team to present. It's from SP Jain School of Global Management, Mr. Raghav Bansal. Raghav, please, the stage is all yours.
A very good evening, one and all. It's my absolute pleasure to be here today in front of you. I'm Raghav Bansal from SP Jain School of Global Management, and today as a founder and CEO of my business idea, Fraggle. Fraggle is a peer-to-peer sharing platform which allows users to host, book, and share private recreation facilities from their houses and where they own. So first, let's dive deep into the problem. Let's say private facilities such as swimming pools, private gyms, home cinemas, and many more at your places, they are not in use 95% of the time. And the owners of them are tired of rising maintenance expenses. And people are thinking whether can we use these facilities or not to earn in some sort of a way. Whereas, on the other hand, these club facility users, they have to pay expensive annual and monthly memberships to gain access. They need to travel long distances only to find super crowded public facilities. They're looking for something where they can book on a via convenient platform, or they can have a much needed private experience. Our solution, a peer-to-peer sharing platform which allows you to book and host many such facilities privately owned by the users, such as home theaters, swimming pool, gaming rooms, music rooms, and so much more. The best part is the users can host experiences too, like adding a breakfast to a swimming lesson in the morning, or hosting wine and dine experiences. Let's say you have a table tennis in your basement, and maybe you're good at table tennis. So why not give coaching of table tennis classes or host a championship at your house? All of this on an hourly basis. Hosts can simply start earning. They can list the space on a platform for completely free, upload pictures, set any preferences or restrictions such as whether you want to allow pets or not. It's completely safe. You have complete control. You can view the user profile once you get the booking and chat with the user, ask any questions, and then accept or deny the request. You have complete control with no obligations at all. You can earn extra by teaching, host experiences, meet new people, and make friends. On the other hand, users, owning these facilities is extremely expensive, but with Fraggle, sharing doesn't have to be. They can discover the perfect facility near their place, look at the convenient timings, and book the slot. They get a much needed private experience, they can pay on an hourly basis, and enjoy the facility with friends for parties, photo shoot, meetups, and so much more. We simply earn by taking 15% commission on each booking. Other verticals include subscription models on monthly or an annual basis, and partnerships for provisions of maintenance, insurance, and so much more. We are actually first to the market. There is no direct competitor globally doing the exact same thing. However, indirect players in the market are therefore shared parking, office sharing. The closest one in the US, a startup which is doing the same thing but only for swimming pools. We have the competitive advantage. We are giving users access to luxury and bringing people together and creating a lot more in the sharing economy space. With your support, we hope to launch the platform within the next 6 months with pre-registered hosts. We are contributing to the environment. We are creating micro-entrepreneurs. You have free time on a Saturday evening, book out your space, host an experience, and invite people over. We are bringing people together, and we are increasing resource utilization. Our long-term vision is to become a peer-to-peer sharing hub, including many more aspects. I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, any feedback, any questions, anything at all. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bansal. Sir, your thoughts?
I don't want to spoil what others may say. I'm not a businessman, but as an ordinary citizen, I think it's a brilliant idea. I think it's highly original. It certainly responds to a real need. Now, the question is, of course, whether people are going to be comfortable to allow strangers into their homes. That's where the social hesitations may come in, and it'll also be, certainly in a country like India, it might be less successful for that reason, that those who can afford to have a home theater or a swimming pool can probably afford to let it be idle 95% of the time.
Right.
But perhaps in more egalitarian societies, the social inhibition about letting somebody else come in and use your pool may not be such an inhibition. But I think it's certainly worth trying, and I don't have any money to invest, but I would think it's an idea worth backing. Well done.
Coming that from you means a lot to me, and if I can comment on that, so the two motivations driving people to rent out their facility on an hourly basis. One is if they are tired of the rising maintenance expense, if they want something, if they have free time, they want something that they can earn on some way. So that's one. Second, more importantly, is people have time, maybe the homemakers at home or youngsters at home. They want to bring people together. They want to invite people, share the facilities with them, make new friends, play together or have fun together. So that's the second motivation motivating them. And as for the society, so Indian society, there are still safety concerns associated with it. That's why we want to launch in more first world developed nations like UAE, Singapore, and then moved to India and other such economies.
Thank you. Russell, do we already have a buyer for this one? Do we have an entrepreneur who is already ready to invest on this one? Of course. That's it. Raghav, way to go. Congratulations. Hope to see Fraggle up on every other mobile phone that we have in this house. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Raghav. Thank you. Fabulous pitch. Thanks a lot. Thank you. And now the second team to present is from Canadian University, Dubai. And let me present to you Mr. Faiq Usmani. Mr. Faiq Usmani.
Hello, everyone. Hello. My name is Hajar bin Munawar, and these are my colleagues Isra bin Munawar and Faiq Usmani. And we are from the Canadian University, Dubai, and today we are going to be presenting a product that we are aiming to create. It is called RoboSafe, and we believe that this product will be a solution to the dangers faced in on-site activities, and it will also increase safety and accessibility to such duties and expeditions. So one of the biggest issues faced today is the access to dangerous grounds and areas such as mines, collision sites, explosive sites, and areas affected by radioactivity. So another issue is that companies and their employees face is that they have to work in hazardous work environments, and they put their lives at risk and their employees' health at risk. So that also increases the chance of major legal lawsuits being filed against them. And even though some companies may consider the use of robots in their work field to replace employees, they also have to think about the problems that arise, that these robots will lack modifications that would fit their needs, or high costs that would also, they would be problems that would not let them implement such robots in the work field. So my colleague will continue, she will explain the solution that we came up with.
Hello everyone. So our aim is to provide low-cost industrial robots in the UAE to help companies cut costs and increase productivity. RoboSafe is an artificially intelligent robot that is mimicking a dog or a four-legged animal. The low-cost product of our aim is to design a futuristic and innovative design made with modular technology and an open source platform. With the modular technology, it could allow our clients to add modification for the products, and with that, it can have the ability to deactivate bombs, and enter in mines and war sites. It could recognize faces, and it will also it could filter out suspicious activities. With that, also it could move and carry objects around with different technologies. Now,
so let's dive in and look into the functionalities of the robot and the parts that it's used to build the robot. So as you can see, we have a modular design, so you can just replace the robot in different functionality, because that's one of the biggest issues right now it's faced on the robotics industry. The robots are only designed to work for one specific task. So that increased the cost and the chance of letting companies go away for using robots, because if they have a human being doing the task, they can have it to do multiple stuff. And the robot will be equipped with 16 motors, which helps it to mimic the movement of a four-legged animal, that it enables it to move in areas such as mountains, stairs and all. And the robot is fully designed to be created in UAE by using open source technologies, which is, as we know, open source technologies that everybody can put some input in it, and then by the end of the day we'll have the all the groups of innovators in UAE to come up with their own ideas using the modular design. So the target market that we're gonna focus on is the companies such as Diva, RTA, and Expo. They are the people that we can focus on because they are doing highly investment on these type of products. And it's the time for us to start building and designing robots in UAE, and we should become independent on designing local stuff in UAE. Thank you so much.
I think you're going to ask questions.
Yeah, of course. Sir, any thoughts?
No, it's very impressive. And of course, there's no doubt that having robots to do these tasks will reduce the danger to human beings, and that's a very perceptive thing. I think the first question that comes to mind is how much of this is totally new? Is some of it already being done? I seem to have read about robots in the business of minefield decontamination already. Is there an existing experience you can learn from, something you can do better than others who've tried to do this?
There is a lot of robots that is created to do these type of things, but our main target is to bring it in very lower cost. Our cost of building the robot is 5,000 EUD, which is the nearest competitor is around 33,000. So that's the main focus that we are focusing on.
And how do you bring the cost down so much? Is it by the
as we
modular
said,
design?
we are using open source technologies, plus we are using 3D printing material, that at the moment, all that technologies are reaching a level that we can use it in the industry. For example, with 3D printing, we can use carbon fiber material. So using those technologies will help us to bring the cost down. And plus, because we are making it locally in UAE, it will be much cheaper for local companies around here.
Excellent. Okay. Sounds
Sure.
good. Good luck. Sounds fascinating.
Thank you so much.
Fabulous.
Any other question?
Thank you. Any other questions, anyone? Sure. Thanks a lot. I think the pitch is already done, and you have your investors waiting. Thanks a lot, guys. Great way to go, team. Now, thank you once again. We are going into the next launch of the evening, and before we do the launch, may I request the presence of the Honorable Member of the Kerala Legislative Assembly, Mr. P.K. Bashir, here on stage. Sir, please, if you could grace the stage.
ബഹുമാന്യായ ഈ ചടങ്ങിൻ്റെ മുഖ്യാതിഥിയുമായ പ്രിയപ്പെട്ട ഡോക്ടർ ശശി തരൂർ MP അവറുകളെ, പ്രിയപ്പെട്ട പുത്തൂർ റഹ്മാൻ സാഹിബ്, എൻ്റെ പ്രിയപ്പെട്ട സുഹൃത്തുക്കളായ റസൽ, അസ്ലം, ഇവിടെ എത്തിയിട്ടുള്ള വിശിഷ്ട വ്യക്തിത്വങ്ങളെ, ഞാൻ കൂടുതലായി ഒന്നും തന്നെ സംസാരിക്കുന്നില്ല. ഒന്ന്, റസൽ എൻ്റെ സുഹൃത്താണ്, അസ്ലം എൻ്റെ നാട്ടുകാരനാണ്. രണ്ടാളും 8 കൊല്ലം മുമ്പ് ഖത്തർ കൂടെ ജോലി കഴിഞ്ഞിങ്ങനെ നടക്കുമ്പോൾ പുതിയ പുതിയ സംരംഭങ്ങൾ തുടങ്ങണം എന്നുള്ള ചിന്തയിൽ നിന്നുണ്ടായതാണ് അവരുടെ ഇപ്പോഴത്തെ ഈ RAG ഈ ബിസിനസ് സെൻ്ററിൻ്റെ കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ. ഈ അസ്ലമിൻ്റെ വാപ്പ എന്നോട് പറയും, ഞാൻ പറയും മകൻ വളരെ ഉഷാറാണ് അറിയാം. അവൻ പറയും ഒരു നാട്ടിലെ ആളാണ്, എല്ലാ കാര്യത്തിലും ഇടപെടുന്നതാണ്. ഓൻ്റെ കാര്യം പറയണ്ടായിരുന്നു, കാരണം മകന് വലിയ വലിയ ആശയങ്ങളാണെന്നാണ് വാപ്പാൻ്റെ വെപ്പ്. പക്ഷെ മകൻ എത്രത്തോളം ഉയർന്നിട്ടുണ്ടെന്നത് വാപ്പ മനസ്സിലാക്കിയില്ല എന്നുള്ളതാണ് എൻ്റെ ഏറ്റവും വലിയ സത്യം. അപ്പോൾ ഞാൻ കഴിഞ്ഞ പ്രാവശ്യം പോയപ്പോൾ പറഞ്ഞു, ഉഷാർ ഇപ്പോൾ പിന്നോട് പറഞ്ഞു ശരിയാണ് ഈ പറഞ്ഞത്. കാരണം അങ്ങനെയാണല്ലോ, മക്കൾക്ക് പുതിയ പുതിയ ആശയങ്ങൾ ഉണ്ടാകുമ്പം ആദ്യം കുറേ ഇൻവെസ്റ്റ്മെൻറ്റും കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ വരുമ്പോൾ സ്വാഭാവികമായിട്ട് നാട്ടിലുണ്ടാകുന്ന ആളുകൾക്ക് ഉണ്ടാകുന്ന ഒരിതുണ്ട്. പക്ഷേ ഇവർ രണ്ടുപേരും വളരെ ഉഷാറായി ഇന്നിപ്പോൾ ബിസിനസ് വളരെയധികം മുന്നോട്ട് പോയി. അങ്ങനെ വന്നപ്പോഴാണ് പുതിയൊരു സംരംഭത്തിൻ്റെ ഒരു നല്ലൊരാളെ ചടങ്ങുന്നുണ്ട്. അപ്പോൾ ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞു, പല ആളുകളെയും പറഞ്ഞു അതിന് നല്ലത് നമ്മുടെ ഡോക്ടർ ശശി തരൂർ സാറാണ്, നമുക്ക് തരൂർ സാറിനെ കാണാമെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞിട്ടാണ് അവർ രണ്ടുപേരും ഞാൻ ഇവിടുന്ന് തിരുവനന്തപുരത്തേക്ക് വരുത്തി അദ്ദേഹത്തെ പോയി കണ്ട്. അദ്ദേഹം വളരെ പോസിറ്റീവായിട്ട് ഞാൻ ദുബായിൽ വരുമ്പോൾ വരാമെന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു. കണ്ടത് ഞങ്ങൾ 1 മാസം മുമ്പാണ്. പക്ഷേ 3 ആഴ്ച മുമ്പേ അദ്ദേഹം ഡേറ്റ് തന്നു, ഇന്ന് സമയത്തിന് വന്നു. സാധാരണ ഒരു മന്ത്രിയോ മറ്റുള്ള ആണെങ്കിൽ 15 മിനിറ്റ് 10 മിനിറ്റ് നിൽക്കും. ഇതാരാ നിൽക്കണം നിങ്ങൾ മനസ്സിലാക്കണം. 2 മണിക്കൂറായിട്ട് തന്നെയാണ് ഈ പരിപാടിൻ്റെ ഏറ്റവും വലിയ ഗാംഭീര്യം എന്നുള്ളത് നിങ്ങൾ മനസ്സിലാക്കണം. മനുഷ്യൻ ഉയരുമ്പോഴേ ഈ വിനയം ഉണ്ടാകുമ്പോഴാണ് ഇതൊക്കെ നടക്കുകയുള്ളൂ, അവനവൻ്റെ ഏത് ഉന്നതങ്ങളിലെത്തുമ്പോഴേ. അപ്പോൾ അതുപോലെ തന്നെ എനിക്ക് നിങ്ങളോട് പറയാനുള്ളത്, ജീവിതത്തിലെ അനുഭവങ്ങളാണ് ജീവിതത്തിലെ ഏറ്റവും വലിയ പാഠം. ഒരുപാട് വിവരങ്ങളുടെ ഒരു കാലം, ഈ അനുഭവങ്ങളിൽ നിന്നാണ് ഒരുപാട് പാഠങ്ങൾ പഠിക്കുക. ഇവിടെ ഇപ്പോൾ പറഞ്ഞല്ലോ നാട്ടിലെ ബിസിനസ്, എയർപോർട്ടിലെ വിഷയങ്ങളൊക്കെ. ഒന്നാമത് 125 കോടി ജനങ്ങളിലെ നാടാണെന്നുള്ളത് നമ്മൾ ആദ്യം മനസ്സിലാക്കണം. നമ്മളിവിടെ ഒരു സാറ് പറഞ്ഞല്ലോ 1947 സ്വാതന്ത്ര്യം കിട്ടിയതിന് ശേഷം ഉണ്ടായിട്ടുള്ള നമ്മുടെ ഡെവലപ്മെൻറ്റ് ഇന്നിപ്പോൾ നമ്മൾക്ക് ഒരുപാട് മാറി. പിന്നെ നമ്മുടെ എമിഗ്രേഷൻ എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ പോലീസാണ്, കസ്റ്റംസ് പോലീസാണ്. പിന്നെ ഈ ടൂറിസം ഇതൊന്നും കോച്ചിങ്ങും കാര്യങ്ങളൊന്നും കിട്ടുന്ന ആൾക്കാരല്ല. ഇപ്പം കുറേയൊക്കെ ഒരു മാറ്റങ്ങളൊക്കെ ഉണ്ട്. ഇപ്പോൾ നമ്മുടെ നാട്ടിൽ എന്തോ ഒക്കെ ഗവൺമെൻറ്റിന് വരണം. ഇപ്പം തിരുവനന്തപുരം എയർപോർട്ട് വരുന്നത് പൊതുമേഖലയിൽ ഗവൺമെൻറ്റിന് വേണമെന്നുള്ളത് ഗവൺമെൻറ് കാര്യങ്ങളും. MP മാത്രമാണ് അത് പ്രൈവറ്റൈസേഷൻ ആണെങ്കിൽ നന്നായിക്കോട്ടെ എന്നുള്ളൊരു അഭിപ്രായം. ഞാനും അദ്ദേഹത്തിൻ്റെ അഭിപ്രായക്കാരനാണ്. കാരണം എന്താ, ആരെങ്കിലും കൊണ്ട് നന്നാട്ടെ എന്നുള്ളതാണ്. ഇപ്പം അല്ലെങ്കിൽ എന്താ വെച്ചാൽ ഇപ്പം എങ്ങനെ കൊണ്ടുവന്നാലും ഇപ്പോൾ ഏത് രാജ്യത്താണെങ്കിലും പ്രൈവറ്റൈസേഷൻ, ബോംബെ എയർപോർട്ട്, ഹൈദരാബാദ് എയർപോർട്ട്, ബാംഗ്ലൂർ എയർപോർട്ട് ഒക്കെ നന്നായി. അപ്പോൾ തിരുവനന്തപുരം എയർപോർട്ട് അതോടൊപ്പം തരൂർ സാറിന് ഇപ്പം ഇലക്ഷനിൽ വോട്ട് കുറഞ്ഞോ? ഇല്ല, 22,000 ജയിച്ചത് 88,000 പ്രാവശ്യം ജയിച്ചത്. അപ്പോൾ മാറ്റം ഉണ്ടാവും. ജനങ്ങൾ ഇതൊക്കെ ഉൾക്കൊള്ളും, ഇതെല്ലാം ഉൾക്കൊള്ളും. അപ്പോൾ അതിനുള്ള പ്രശ്നങ്ങളൊന്നുമില്ല. അപ്പം നിലപാടുകളുള്ളവരുടെ കൂടെ ജനം നിൽക്കും. അതാണ് അദ്ദേഹത്തിൻ്റെ ഏറ്റവും വലിയ വിജയം. അദ്ദേഹം രാഷ്ട്രീയത്തിൽ ഒന്നും അല്ലാത്ത സമയത്താണ് അദ്ദേഹം 2009 സ്ഥാനാർത്ഥിയാണത്. അന്ന് തരൂർ സാർ അവിടെ നിന്നാണ് UN സെക്രട്ടറി ആയിട്ടാണ് വരുന്നത്. ആ ജനങ്ങളുടെ ഇടയിൽ അദ്ദേഹത്തിനെ പറ്റി വിഷയമുണ്ട്. തിരുവനന്തപുരം പോലുള്ള സിറ്റിയിൽ സ്വന്തം പാർട്ടിക്കാർ വരെ അദ്ദേഹത്തിന് പാര വെച്ചപ്പോഴാണ് 99,999 99,999 വോട്ട്. അല്ല, ഇല്ല കാര്യം പറയാൻ എന്താ ഇല്ല കാര്യം, സത്യം തന്നെയല്ലേ. കോൺഗ്രസ് ആണെന്ന് നമുക്കറിയില്ല ഇപ്പോൾ അത് എത്രയാണെന്നുള്ളത്. അപ്പം അതിൻ്റെ ഒരു വിഷയമല്ല. അങ്ങനെ അദ്ദേഹം നല്ല വോട്ടിന് ജയിച്ചു. ആ 5 കൊല്ലം കൊണ്ട് അവിടെ നേട്ടങ്ങൾ ഉണ്ടാക്കി. അത് കഴിഞ്ഞ് വീണ്ടും ഏറ്റവും ശക്തമായ മത്സരം വന്നു, അപ്പോഴും ജയിച്ചു. കഴിഞ്ഞ പ്രാവശ്യം 1 ലക്ഷം വോട്ടിൻ്റെ അടുത്ത് ഭൂരിപക്ഷത്തിൽ ജയിച്ചു. ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞതെന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ ആളുകളെ ജനം അംഗീകരിക്കും. കാര്യങ്ങളൊക്കെ ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ നമുക്ക് അദ്ദേഹത്തെ പോലുള്ള ഉന്നതന്മാരായ ആളുകളൊക്കെ നമുക്ക് വേണം. ഇപ്പോൾ ഇതൊന്നും ഒരുപാട് അദ്ദേഹത്തിൻ്റെ സ്പീച്ചിൽ നിന്ന് ഒരുപാട് കാര്യങ്ങൾ നമുക്ക് മനസ്സിലാക്കാൻ സാധിച്ചു. അപ്പോൾ അങ്ങനെ ഒരു അവസരം ഇവിടെ ഉണ്ടാക്കി തന്ന റസലിനെയും അസ്ലമിനെയൊക്കെ ഞാൻ അഭിനന്ദിക്കുകയാണ്. ഇതിനൊക്കെ വളരെ നാട് തന്നെയാണ്. എത്രയായാലും അവസാനം വരുന്നത് നാട്ടിൽ തന്നെയാണ്. നാടിപ്പോൾ കുറേ മാറി. പിന്നെ ഇപ്പം ഈ ബിസിനസ് കാര്യത്തിൽ, സ്റ്റാർട്ടപ്പ് കാര്യങ്ങളിലൊക്കെ ഉണ്ട്. പിന്നെ മാറി വരുന്ന ഗവൺമെൻറ്റുകളുടെ ഒരു പ്രശ്നങ്ങളുണ്ടാവും. ഓരോ പാർട്ടിൻ്റെ ഓരോ പോളിസി ഉണ്ടാവും. പിന്നെ പഴയ കമ്മ്യൂണിസ്റ്റൊന്നുമല്ല, കുറേയൊക്കെ മാറാൻ തുടങ്ങി. ഞാൻ നേരത്തെ പറഞ്ഞാൽ ഇപ്പോൾ പണ്ടത്തെ മാതിരിയൊന്നും ഇപ്പോൾ ആളെ കിട്ടില്ല. പുതിയ ജനറേഷൻ എന്നൊക്കെ പറഞ്ഞാൽ അങ്ങനെയാണല്ലോ. ഇപ്പോൾ 50% ആൾക്കാർക്ക് രാഷ്ട്രീയമുള്ളൂ. ആ സമയത്ത് വരുമ്പോൾ ഉള്ള ഒരു നിലപാടിനനുസരിച്ച് കിട്ടും. പിന്നെ ഇപ്പം പറഞ്ഞല്ലോ, ഇവിടെ കുറേ പോളിസി മേറ്റർ പറഞ്ഞു ഒന്നും നടക്കില്ല. 100 രൂപേൻ്റെ പറ്റുള്ള 54 രൂപ ടാക്സ് വാങ്ങുന്ന നാടാണ് നമ്മളത്. അതിനനുസരിച്ചുള്ള ഡെവലപ്മെൻ്റ് ഒന്നും അവിടെ നടക്കണമെന്നില്ല. ആൾക്കാർക്ക് ജാതി മതം ഉണ്ടായാൽ മതി. ആ ഒരു കൺസെപ്റ്റുള്ളൂ, കാഴ്ചപ്പാടുള്ളൂ. എല്ലാ വിഷയങ്ങളെ പറ്റി നമ്മളും വേണം ചിന്തിക്കുക. എല്ലാവരും സോഷ്യൽ മീഡിയയിൽ മാത്രമല്ല, നാട്ടിൽ നടക്കുന്ന കാര്യങ്ങളെ സംബന്ധിച്ച് നിങ്ങൾക്കും തന്നെ ഒരു അവബോധം ഉണ്ടാകണം എന്നാണ് എനിക്ക് പറയുന്നത്. എല്ലാവരും ആ ഒരു സോഷ്യൽ മീഡിയയിൽ വരുന്ന ആ ഒരു ഇത് കണ്ടിട്ട് പ്രതികരിച്ചാൽ പോലെ വിഷയങ്ങളെപ്പറ്റി പഠിച്ച് അറിഞ്ഞിട്ട് വേണം പറയാനുള്ളതാണ്. എനിക്ക് ഒറ്റ കാര്യങ്ങൾ പറയണം. ഞാൻ നേരത്തെ പറഞ്ഞത്, ഞാനൊക്കെ ഫസ്റ്റ് കന്നി MLA ആയപ്പോൾ ഉമ്മൻചാണ്ടി സാറ് ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് ക്ലാസ് കൊടുത്തു. അന്ന് ഈ പുതിയ നിങ്ങൾ വിചാരിക്കും ഞങ്ങൾക്കും ക്ലാസ്സൊക്കെ ഉണ്ടാവും, അതില്ലാന്ന് വിചാരിക്കണ്ട. ഞങ്ങളെല്ലാം തേഞ്ഞോലാന്നുള്ള ധാരണ ഞങ്ങൾക്കും ഇല്ല, അറിയങ്ങൾ. അപ്പോൾ അന്ന് ക്ലാസ് എടുത്തു, ഉമ്മൻചാണ്ടി സാറ് ക്ലാസ് എടുക്കും. പുതിയ MLA-മാർക്ക് 3 ദിവസത്തെ ഓറിയൻറ്റേഷൻ കോഴ്സ് ഉണ്ടാവും. അന്ന് ഉമ്മൻചാണ്ടി സാറ് പറഞ്ഞു, ഒരുപാട് പഠിച്ചിട്ടും ഒരുപാട് അസംബ്ലി പ്രൊസീഡിങ്സ് പഠിച്ചു കാര്യമില്ല, ജീവിത അനുഭവമാണ് ജീവിതത്തിലെ ഏറ്റവും വലിയ പാഠം എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു. ഞാനും തന്നെ അവിടെ നിന്ന് പഠിച്ചു. കാരണം നമ്മളിത് പല ആളുകളും വരും, പല വിഷയങ്ങളും വരും. ആ വിഷയത്തിൽ നിന്നാണ് നമുക്കുണ്ടാവും. അപ്പോൾ ഒരു ബിസിനസ് ആണെങ്കിലും ആദ്യം ചിലപ്പോൾ നഷ്ടം ഉണ്ടാകുമ്പോഴേക്കാരം ഒന്നായിട്ട് ലാഭം കിട്ടിയാൽ ആകാശത്ത് എത്തുമ്പം പിന്നീട് ഇരിക്കുമ്പോഴേക്കാരം എന്താ ചെയ്യേണ്ടി അറിയാം. നേരെ വെച്ചാൽ ആദ്യം തന്നെ ചെയ്യുമ്പോൾ ചെറിയ നഷ്ടമോ കുറച്ച് ലാഭമൊക്കെ ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഒന്ന് ഉഷാറായിക്കാണ് പോകാൻ നോക്കും. അതാണ് ഈ ബിസിനസ്സിൻ്റെ ഒരു ഏർപ്പാട്. ഒന്നായിട്ട് ഫസ്റ്റ് തന്നെ 10 കോടിയാണ് കിട്ടി, രണ്ടാമത്തെ കൊല്ലം അത് 1 കോടിയായിട്ടാണ് നഷ്ടമായിട്ട് ഒന്നായിട്ടാണ് പോയാൽ പിന്നെ എന്താണ് ചെയ്യണമെന്ന് അറിയില്ല. നേരെ വെച്ച് ഘട്ടമായിട്ട് പോകണം. ഞാൻ റസലിനോട് തന്നെ പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട്, ഏർപ്പാട് ഇങ്ങനെ ഘട്ടമായിട്ട് മതി, ഒന്നായിട്ട് 10 ബ്രാഞ്ച് തുടങ്ങരുതിട്ടോ എന്ന് ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞിട്ടുണ്ട്. കാരണം എന്ന് വെച്ചാൽ എല്ലാം ഒരു സ്റ്റേബിളായിട്ട് പോയാൽ ഘട്ടമായി പോയാൽ ഉയർന്ന് മുന്നോട്ട് പോകും സാധിക്കും എന്നാണ് എനിക്ക് പറയാനുള്ളത്. കൂടുതലൊന്നും തന്നെ പറയുന്നില്ല. ഇങ്ങനെ ഒരു ഗംഭീരമായ ഒരു ചടങ്ങ് സംഘടിപ്പിച്ച റസലിനെയും അസ്ലമിനെയും ഇതിൽ പങ്കെടുത്ത നിങ്ങൾക്ക് എല്ലാവർക്കും ഞാൻ അഭിവാദ്യം അർപ്പിക്കുകയാണ്. ഞാൻ എൻ്റെ സുഹൃത്ത് നിൽക്കുകയാണ്, നിയമസഭ നടക്കണമെന്നുകൊണ്ട് ഇന്നലെ വന്ന് നാളെ ഞാൻ പോവുകയാണ്. ഏതായാലും ഈ ഇതിൽ പങ്കെടുക്കാൻ സാധിച്ചതിൽ വളരെയധികം സന്തോഷമുണ്ട്. എല്ലാവർക്കും നന്ദി രേഖപ്പെടുത്തുന്നു.
As we said, this is the second launch of the evening, and we are going to launch the mobile app. RAG Business Ecosystem, RAG Global Business Hub launches its mobile app. Honorable MLA P.K. Bashir sir to do the unveiling and hand it over to Russell. Please put your hands together, everybody. That is the RAG Biz app. It's a one-stop business hub. And this is what connects you to the other person. And whatever you want in business, whatever you want for a launch, it's all available here. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. Quick picture, please, everyone. Thank you, sir.
എല്ലാവർക്കും വിചാരിക്കണ്ടോ ഞാൻ അങ്ങനെ തുണിയെടുത്ത് നടക്കണം. ഞാനെപ്പോഴും എല്ലായിടത്തും തുണിയെടുത്താൽ പോലെ. കാരണം എന്താ പറയുക, ഞാൻ പാരീസ്ക്ക് പോയപ്പോൾ തുണിയെടുത്ത് പോയത്. ഈ മാർവാടീസ് ഇങ്ങനെ കോണം മറ്റേ ഇത് കുത്തിക്കാണ്ടത് എല്ലായിടത്തും പോകാന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ നമുക്കത് പോകാമെന്നുള്ളതില്ല. നമ്മളെ ആൾക്കാർക്ക് തരാറുണ്ട്, നമ്മളെ മലയാളീസിന് അത് പാൻറ് ഇടണം അങ്ങനെയാണ്. അതൊന്നുമില്ല, അവനാൻ്റെ ഡ്രസ്സ് ഇട്ട് പോകാം, എന്നാൽ തന്നെ നടക്കുള്ളൂ. അല്ലാതെ നമുക്ക് എല്ലാവർക്കും ഉണ്ട് ഒരു ധാരണ ഏത് അത് പാൻറ്. എന്നോട് ചിലപ്പോൾ എല്ലാവരും പറയും പാൻറ് ഇട്ട് ചോദിച്ചു. ഞാൻ പറഞ്ഞു ഞാൻ അങ്ങനെ ഇട്ട് പോയാൽ എന്താ കുഴപ്പമെന്ന് ഞാൻ നോക്കട്ടെ. അല്ല അത് ഒരു അവനാരുടെ നിലപാടില്ല. ഞാൻ പാരീസ് പോയിട്ടും ഞാൻ ജർമ്മനി പോയപ്പോഴും സ്വിറ്റ്സർലാൻഡിൽ പോയപ്പോഴൊക്കെ ഞാൻ തൊഴിലെടുത്തായിരുന്നു. ആൾക്കാരും നോക്കും സാഹിബിന് ആ ഷോർട്ട്സ് എടുക്കാണ്ട് നടക്കാന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ബഷീറിന് തൊഴിലെടുത്ത് നടക്കാം. അതാണ് എൻ്റെ പോളിസി. ഓക്കെ,
Thank you. Just a quick overview of the app here. The ecosystem is totally available there. Whatever you want, any of the solutions that you need to launch a business here, to run a business here, anything that you want is available on the app. And it's not just that. RAG Global Business Hub has always grown with the word of mouth. Whoever has experienced RAG Global Business Hub's initiatives, their service, they know what RAG Global Business Hub is all about. Here again, with the app, we are using the referral system. Anyone you refer, you can earn points and you can avail services from the app. So that's how the app is going to be. It's from one person to the other. And of course, it's going to be helping each other out in case you need help with any kind of business opportunities right here in the UAE. Thanks a lot. Do we have a presentation for that? The video? Can we have the video for the app right now?
Hello, everyone. It's good to be with you today for the launch of your mobile app for entrepreneurs. I can tell you at Disney, one of our leadership's main focus is keeping up with technology so we can take better care of our guests, our employees, and our bottom line. I believe your mobile app is a timely introduction which will give entrepreneurs quick access to your resources and services and the ability for them to network with other entrepreneurs, potential customers, and to promote their products and services. Congratulations on this launch. I know it will be an important resource for entrepreneurs around the world, and I am glad to launch the RAG Global Business Hub's mobile app for entrepreneurs. Hope you have a great meeting. Thank you for having me here, and take care. Bye now.
That was Lee Cockrell, the former Executive Vice President at the Walt Disney World Resort. And before we move ahead with the next launch, we have another esteemed person right here, Dr. Putur Rahman right here. Can I have you here on stage, sir? A few words to enlighten us. Show your love. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and show your love for Dr. Putur Rahman.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alamin, as-salatu was-salamu ala ashrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi. Our respected Chief Guest, Dr. Shashi Tharoor, and my brother and my friend Bashir ji, Russell, Aslam, and my dears and friends, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. To make a speech, friend of Dr. Shashi Tharoor is an impossible task. മലയാളത്തിൽ ചൊല്ലുണ്ടാവും. ഡോക്ടർ ശശി തരൂരിൻ്റെ മുന്നിൽ പ്രസംഗം അറിയാത്തവരുടെ പ്രസംഗം എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞാൽ അതൊരു വധാണ്, അത് തോന്നിയാസാണ്, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ ഒരു എന്താ പറയുക, അങ്ങനെയൊക്കെ പറയാറുണ്ട് ആളുകൾ. So I'm not going to try to make any speech, but for the formality, let me say some few words. This is an auspicious beginning. I understand RAG is introducing the most competitive business solution for beginners, especially new entrepreneurs across the globe. Many people coming from India to start some venture here, but unfortunately, they are being misled by unscrupulous agents and they are shedding their dreams and ambitions, going back with the empty hands. RAG can help such budding entrepreneurs and guide them to proper channels. I express the hope that RAG will not only be a business hub, also a helping stepping stone for a newcomers to attain great heights of excellence. May RAG soon turn out to be the key to riches for many an expatriate Indian. Let me appreciate Mr. Russell Ahmed, Chairman RAG, and Mr. Muhammad Aslam, Managing Director, for their brilliant initiative to start such a business hub to help our community. Dr. Shashi Tharoor is a man who needs no introduction. Everyone present here knows he is a great parliamentarian, a great speaker, a great debater, a great author, and a charming personality. We know him as a man who worked magic with the words, some very complicated words. I must say, his presence here totally really warms our hearts. And let me congratulate and thank you, the team of RAG, once again to give me an opportunity to stand in front of Dr. Shashi Tharoor. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. The next launch is RAG Properties. And to do the launch, we have the esteemed presence of the founder and chairman of the PACE Group and the co-chairman of Malabar Gold and Diamonds. We have the esteemed presence of Dr. P.A. Ibrahim Haji here. May I request you here on stage, sir. Let me welcome Mr. Mohammed Rafi here on stage. Mr. Rafi, please grace the stage. Please, Rafi, get on stage. And may I request? Sir, first let's launch RAG Properties. The logo launch of RAG Properties, RAG Properties. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. The most respected, and as my previous speaker described as handsome and very, very popular personality, Dr. Shashi Tharoor, Kerala's very successful and vibrant MLA, P.K. Bashir Sahib, the illustrious son of an illustrious father, Sidi Haji Sahib. And my friends, actually, all the partners of this business group, known to me. Mr. Rafi is my product. He is the engineering student of my PACE group. I am happy wherever I go. My students are occupying very, very important positions all over the globe, whether it is USA, London, Australia, everywhere, wherever I go. And now I'm very happy that this RAG Business Group has entered. I think 3-4 launches have been already over today. And I'm here to congratulate them. The world is changing so fast. 50 years back, who was the rich person in the world? Probably the landowners. Later on, traders, business owners. Now, the technology has taken over. And the youngsters, the engineers, technologists, they are actually having the upper hand in the world of business and success all over the world today. Starting from the Silicon Valley of USA, where 40% of Indians are doing their business very, very successfully. Now to the Gulf, UAE, everywhere, the Indian spread is there. So I'm sure this group will be a very, very successful venture. I was really wondering, people, the taxi car, what is that? Uber, with no capital, is a $65 billion company today. So like that, technology and the utilization of the market, the proper utilization of the business market is the success today. I don't want to prolong. I wish every success. Today, actually, I'm seeing many of my friends here, all people who are in different fields, known and unknown to me. I'm very happy to be part of this evening gathering here, and may Allah bless them, may God bless them with success, and we are all here to support you in whatever way possible. Thank you for inviting me for the launch of this RAG real estate or property division. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, sir. Thank you. Thank you for your kind words, sir. May I request Mr. Rafi back on stage? Mr. Mohammed Rafi, the Chief Business Officer. May I request you to present RAG Properties. A quick synopsis of what RAG Properties is all about.
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Myself, Mohammed Rafi, Chief Business Officer of RAG Global Business Hub. Honorable Chief Guest Shashi, Tharoor sir, other dignitaries who are present today. RAG Properties is the latest venture to be launched by RAG Group to capture the untapped opportunity in Dubai's thriving property business. Even though there are many market players in the real estate space, there still seems to be a great market gap to fill in terms of creating awareness about affordable investment opportunities in certain geographies, and then assisting the clients to make their investment journey a smooth one. It is at this juncture, RAG's new line of business, RAG Properties, comes into picture. Once in my college days, our college chairman was giving a talk to us, and I expected that he might say something insisting on studies and career. But he shook us up by saying, if you fail in exams, you will get a second chance. But you will not get a second chance if you fail in Akhirah, that is the life hereafter. This was an eye-opener for most of us. The chairman of our college is none other than Mr. P.A. Ibrahim Aji, and I thank the Almighty for providing us the opportunity for having him to inaugurate our new vertical, RAG Properties. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Now, for this evening, this is going to be the last launch, but it's a starter to a lot of launches that are about to come from RAG Business Hub. So, we were supposed to have Dr. Asad Moopan here, but due to his busy schedule, he couldn't make it today. But he has sent us a video to launch RAG Wellness and Business Tourism. Let's have the video of Dr. Asad Moopan live here. The chairman of Aster DM Healthcare. He was supposed to be here today, but due to his busy schedule, he couldn't make it. He sends his apologies. Let's have the video of him wishing us for the launch of RAG Wellness and Business Tourism. A quick word before the video comes in. This is a unique way to launch tourism. So, while the video is playing, let me just tell you what RAG Wellness and Business Tourism is all about. See, whenever we have come to Dubai to set up a business, we go to all the places here. But has anyone actually taken us to the places where the business really happens? Has anyone told us about a fruit and vegetable market that is in here? Has anyone told us about an auto market that's out there in Ras Al Khor? Has anyone told us about Jabal Ali and what it is used for? You come here, you have fun, and you leave. You talk to a lot of your business friends, and then you leave. But what if there was tourism intended for you to come here and explore business opportunities? RAG, that is RAG Tourism, is actually going to bring you that. And the first of its kind ever here in the UAE. And not just that, back in Kerala, as Feroz rightly pointed out, and all the others who said that Kerala has a lot of opportunities, especially in the tourism sector. And as Dr. Shashi Tharoor rightly said, we've come a long way, but still have a long way to go. So, Kerala and wellness is something that we have associated with for a long time, and everyone here in the Arab culture knows about it. Whenever we think of wellness, we think of Ayurveda, a product of Kerala to the world. And that is what RAG Wellness Tourism is going to bring to you. So, a lot of opportunities to have both ways, like to develop more in the UAE and also in Kerala. Not to keep you waiting, but while we're waiting for the video to come up, let me call Mohammed Aslam, the Managing Director of RAG Global Business Group, here on stage. We've been hearing his name all throughout the evening, but we have not seen him on stage. Let me please welcome him on stage for a vote of thanks.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Paulo Coelho has said, if you want something in your life, the whole universe conspire to help you to achieve it. Yes, very true. Now we are experiencing it. Before start our company RAG, Russell Ahmed and me worked together in a contracting company at Qatar. We used to walk in the evening in a Cornish site and we have a regular discussion. We had a desire to mark our own identity in the world by the year of 2050. The desire was quite strong enough. Thus, we started our company RAG with 2 employees, obviously Russell and me. Tony Robbins, the famous American writer, says, setting goal is the first step in turning invisible into visible. As we all know, the moment we put deadline to our dreams, the vision, the dream became goal. And now, 2021, in a count of 8 years, we are here with RAG, flourished and doing well in a different sectors, different numbers, and different countries. Teamwork makes the dream work. Great things in a business are never done by one or two persons. It's done by a group of people. And now the team RAG consists around 650 talented pupils, riding the show ahead with sincerity and enthusiasm. We are still at the initial stage as per the algorithm of goal set. We have miles to go and to reach the ultimate goal, we believe. We move with whole lot of energy and determination, and we expect continuous support and prayers from all of you. Now, on behalf of entire RAG team, let me thank you, Dr. Shashi Tharoor sir, from bottom of my heart, and for being so generous with your valuable time despite your busy schedule. We are proud that you are here, sir, and your section was truly informative, interesting, and motivational. Thank you very much, sir. I cannot thank you enough, Bashir Sahib, for all your support and guidance you are giving us continuously. We are really grateful to have a MLA like you, sir. More like a friend, advisor, and brother. Thank you very much, Bashir Sahib. Above all, I have to thank you, my dear friend, Russell Ahmed, for being the best half of my thoughts, for holding hands together this journey and beyond, for making me understand the perfect meaning of friendship. I'm sorry, I feel a little bit emotion while talking about him. Let's call Russell to have a bottom of hug from my heart.
Russell, please, grace the stage, please. Along with Aslam. The vision of two brothers, two friends who are bigger than brothers.
Thank you, Russell.
Thank you.
Along with this, I would like to thank you, Mr. Asad Mopan, even though he is not here. But he shared a video, but we will be playing soon. And Mr. P.A. Ibrahim Sahib, and Puttur Rahman sir, and Sayyid Abdul Khader, and Faki sir, for being here today with us this moment of pride. Now, to all of our clients and customers who help us to grow and thrive, thank you very much for being part of our journey. And I use this moment to thank my wife, Aisha, and my kids, Aban, Nahra, and Izhan. They are fully supporting me. And my parents, my friends, and brothers and sisters, and well-wishers, and my dear staff members, yes, we are a family and we will grow together. All the dignified guests and family members who gathered over here, my deepest thanks to all of you being here and make this event so grateful and delightful one. Thank you all once again from my bottom of heart.
Thanks a lot, thank you. Before everyone leaves, I have just one more video which we had left out. Just one more video that we left out. Can I have Asad Mopan sir's video playing right now? Just one video, sir. Dr. Asad Mopan's video, yeah, of course.
Good evening, everyone. On this very special occasion, it's my greatest pleasure to be with the distinguished guests and well-wishers who have assembled for the RAG Global Business Hub's Business Ecosystem launch event today. I'm sorry that I can't be there physically, but extremely happy to be virtually connected and part of this new milestone in RAG's journey to support entrepreneurs, in the region and the startups to scale up. There are youngsters like Russell Ahmed, I really appreciate, who have taken this mission of providing that ecosystem, which was not there earlier. People were just looking for jobs. They were not worried about starting a business or becoming an entrepreneur, giving job to others. That was not part of the culture when we were youngsters. But now that whole thing has changed. People are looking at becoming employers rather than becoming employees. And that is what will happen with this new initiative. And it's my proud privilege to inaugurate a new venture which they are starting along with that. The RAG, Wellness and Business Tourism. In the name of Almighty God, I declare that this is being inaugurated, and Bismillah, let us look forward to a good future for the business. It is not just a question of business. When you look at health, which is most important, and that is the backbone of all our lives, the support that is given by such ventures are very, very important. They are providing that opportunity for people in the region, especially in UAE, Qatar, to access the good healthcare that is available in India, especially in Kerala. We know that Kerala is traditionally very well known for the indigenous medicine like Ayurveda, and large number of people from the Gulf countries and even from other countries come there every year for wellness related matters. And apart from that, Kerala is also becoming a destination for modern medical treatment with the excellent hospitals which have been set up in the last 10-15 years. A lot of people come there because of the expertise and also the tariff differential between the countries in GCC and in Western countries and India. So I'm sure that this venture, the RAG Wellness and Business Tourism, will act as a bridge for such people to access the excellent care that is available in Kerala and in India. And I wish all the best for this new venture. We all know that any journey or a journey of 1,000 miles starts with a single step. And this journey of RAG to promote the culture of wellness and positivity and care, let it go to the highest level and let it go in such a way that it is going to be extremely useful to the people who utilize that, as well as becomes a very great business venture. My best wishes again to the team RAG.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And now, it's time to meet and greet each other. Have a lovely dinner. The buffet is open. Please, let's grab our plates, get back to our tables, meet and greet each other. Have a great networking dinner. Have a great night, everyone. And please be with us. Please have dinner on us and share all the good thoughts and, of course, prayers for the RAG family. Thank you for being the lovely people you are, and thank you for showing up tonight. Have a wonderful night and have a drive safe home. Thank you.